Hey guys, so I want to quickly make a video going over the new leaked Ascendancies. So I do want to give a word in here. This is from fextralife and they aren't always known to give the best information. Yeah, they do have both Pathfinder and Deadeye full Ascendancy nodes. They don't have any other Ascendancy on here. So yeah, these are the fully leaked Ascendancies, but just keep in mind this might be inaccurate on real launch. This might be like months old. This could be a few weeks old. Who really knows? But I want to make a video on it because they do seem quite accurate to what the PoE2 power level for Ascendancies are going to be. I made these two full screenshots here, not the cleanest, but I'll have this link down below, of course. But yeah, I want to go over the Ascendancy notes real quick, my thoughts about it and all that. So let's start off with Deadeye. So Deadeye, we'll just go down the list. Eagle Eye, we know it's one from before. You have no accuracy penalty at distance. This is potentially a really good node, but we don't fully know accuracy penalties yet, so I'm not going to talk much about it. Health conditions, +1 proj, we know this one as well. Once again, pretty good node. +1 proj is pretty good always in PoE1, and +1 proj in PoE2 seems to be a lot more scarce. So even though this is nerfed from PoE1, it should still be really strong. The new node, projectile proximity specialization, I just shortened it here to proj proc spec because it was kind of too long. But yeah, this is a node down here, and essentially it's far shot or point blank. So I assume how this works is that you pick one of them and that's the one you get. So you either choose far shot or point blank, and it's pretty similar to PoE1's far shot or point blank, except it's 20% more damage. So if you go far shot, you get 20% more damage if you hit them from far away. If you go point blank, you get 20% more damage if you hit them at point blank. Pretty simple, decent node. 20% more damage for Ascendancy in PoE2 is roughly what you're looking at, so I would say this is a good node. Called shots, you can apply additional mark. We don't have all the gen info yet, so we don't really know how all good the marks are, so it's kind of hard to say how good this one is, but being able to do a sort of mechanic that other classes can't always leads to a strong situation or strong Ascendancy, so potentially this is really good, but I can't really say. Time will tell if this is actually a really good Ascendancy node or not. Next, gather wins, so we know this one from before as well. Gain Tailwind on skill use, lose all Tailwind on hit. But keep in mind, at least what Jonathan said, Tailwind is only movement speed in PoE2. He might have misspoken, it might still be action speed. If this is action speed, it's really good. If it's only movement speed, it's kind of bad. And then the Wind Ward. Wind Ward we had in PoE1, and it was just really bad. They even had to buff it to 4% damage taken per Tailwind, and it was still really bad. So in PoE2, it's back to being 3%, and you attack a lot less in PoE2. They said that themselves. So I don't really see this ever being good. I'm not sure why they reintroduced it into PoE2 because it was never good in PoE1. Yeah, interesting that they did add it. I probably wouldn't take this, at least now. Maybe you had to take it for defense, but yeah, it was never good in PoE1. And the fact that they brought it back in PoE2 and it's a nerfed version doesn't get me too excited about this node, but it's kind of the only defense that I has, unfortunately. I was hoping for a more solid defense node. And now we have the two last new nodes, and these are the two most exciting nodes in my opinion. So Avidity, 30% chance that if you gain frenzy charges, you instead gain up to your maximum number of frenzy charges. So this is really good for a few abilities, namely Rain of Arrows and Barrage. So yeah, Barrage in PoE2, if you don't know what it does, here it is. Essentially the TLDR of the skill, it's a buff skill, you use it, and the next bow attack is repeated an additional time, plus an additional time per a frenzy charge consumed. So if you can get like 6 or 7 frenzies in PoE2, this is giving you like 6-7 times more damage. So it is quite potent, especially when combined with the new Deadeye Ascendancy node, giving you max frenzies. This can be quite strong. And more importantly, with Thrilling Chase as well, the big payoff. So benefits from consuming frenzy charges for your skills have a 50% chance to be doubled. So obviously this is big RNG, it's a 50-50, but if you double the effect of something like Barrage, and you repeat the attack like 12 times, that would be a lot of damage. And also Rain of Arrows as well. Rain of Arrows in PoE2 is also looking quite strong. You fire 53 arrows, pretty high effective added damage. And it's 100% more arrows if a frenzy charge is consumed, and then 50% more after that per additional frenzy charge consumed. This Deadeye Ascendancy is looking overall quite strong, but you would probably have to be like a Rain of Arrows or a Barrage build. If you're not playing Rain of Arrows or Barrage or some type of frenzy payoff, then that Ascendancy is looking quite weak. So it's strong if you're a frenzy charge payoff character, and looking quite, mid to like okay if you're not a frenzy charge payoff character. Either way, I do like Deadeye. The only thing I don't like is Wind Ward. I really wish they gave Deadeye some real form of defense in PoE2. It has no real defense in PoE1, and unfortunately it looks the same in PoE2. But besides that, for a damage potential Ascendancy, this might be one of the highest because of Thrill and Trace, with Barrage or Rain of Arrows. Probably Rain of Arrows, since this is actually spammable if you find a nice way to actually generate a consistent amount of frenzy charges, and then, you know, it'll get to max with Avidity. So overall, really like Deadeye, just wish it actually had real defense. It is looking to be a pretty high damage ascendancy. So next is Pathfinder. So I don't have anything on Brew Concoction because fextralife didn't have any info on this either, but there's a Bleeding Concoction, an Explosive Concoction, Shattering Concoction, Fulminating Concoction, and a Poisonous Concoction, but there's no info on what each concoction does. Traveler's Wisdom, next one, grants 5 passive skill points. 5 passive skill points is interesting for Ascendancy node. I think it is quite good and will be quite situational. Some Ascendancies, it's kind of like a flex point where if one of these other nodes doesn't fit your build, you can just pick this. So I do think it is quite nice. Having this type of flexibility in your Ascendancy is always kind of good, so I do like this node. Relentless Pursuit and Relentless Assault, we saw this from the reveal. 30% less movement penalty while using skills while moving, and your speed is unaffected by slows. The Relentless Assault is definitely very nice. The Relentless Pursuit is kind of hard to say. We don't really know how annoying or how common slows are, so this node is either really good or it's just really bad, and I can't say because, you know, we haven't played PoE 2. How common are slows? Like, are you slowed like every other pack? Do a lot of bosses slows? Who knows? So yeah, I can't really speak on this node. Overwhelming Toxicity and Contagious Contamination. We saw this earlier as well, so I want to quickly go over them. But yeah, the most damaging poison on enemies you kill is spread to other enemies within 1.5 meters. Poison Prolife from PoE 1, really good, really strong. We know that from PoE 1. Really nice for clear. Allows you to play like a full focus single target poison build while still having some clear. And then Overwhelming Toxicity. Once again, also pretty good. Double the number of poisons you can inflict on enemies, but you get less poison duration. Honestly, don't know poisons is worth it. I think you can get something like 4 or 5 poison stacks. With this, you can go up to 10 poison stacks. Definitely a really strong node for poison builds. Now the last 2 nodes, and once again, probably the strongest nodes, is Connected Chemistry and Enduring Elixirs, but it's just flash charges gains are doubled. Now, Enduring Elixirs is the really good one, and we know this from PoE 1. Life Flask effect are not removed when unreserved life is filled. Life Flask effects do not queue. Essentially, this just gives you consistent healing with your Life Flask. If you can sustain Life Flask and constantly press it, you have this very consistent healing. As soon as you take damage, your Life Flask is instantly healing you. This was very abusable in PoE 1 and definitely caused a lot of controversy in the past. People would macro their Life Flask all the time. Hopefully that's not a thing in PoE 2. But yeah, we do know from PoE 1 that this node Enduring Elixirs is very strong defensively. It gives you a ton of regen, especially if you can permanently sustain your Life Flask. Now the downside is permanently sustaining your Life Flask may not be possible. This was possible in PoE 1 because we had multiple Life Flask modifiers. Pathfinder itself gave you Life Flask charges. Time will tell how strong these nodes are. I do think the Ascendancies are pretty interesting. I'm not too keen on Pathfinder personally, but I am liking Deadeye a lot, especially if you are going to use a skill like Rain of Arrows or Barrage. But I do think mostly Rain of Arrows is the big payoff here because it's spammable, while Barrage is not spammable because it will have quite a long cooldown. So anyway, that's about it. You know, if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. But yeah.